Have you ever tried to impress someone on Instagram? What if I told you that Instagram's UI has influenced you in ways you could never imagine? This is Arjun. He's been texting a very popular influencer, Shivani, for the past 5 days. Things were going well till last night, but Shivani has not been checking Arjun's memes anymore. She's active, but she's not opening her DMs. Out of restlessness, he taps on Shivani's profile and stalks her a little. It's just Arjun's way of convincing himself that all of this effort is worth it. Shivani, on the other hand, is busy looking at other influencers, trying to figure out how to go viral through Instagram Reels. She can't like or comment because she doesn't want anyone to know that she's stalking these girls for inspiration. So she taps on save and adds it to her reel inspiration. Arjun is pretty annoyed. He wants attention and he wants it now. So he decides to do something just to get Shivani's attention. Both of them are glued to their phones. Their brains are firing at all pistons. Dopamine, the reward chemical. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Endorphins, the natural painkillers. All of these chemical reactions influenced by one single app. In fact, every single app that you've ever used has been slowly influencing your behavior without letting you know. But today, with the help of Mobin, I am going to explain you 5 powerful UX laws that apps use to influence the way you think, behave, and take decisions. Anytime you use an app, you use that app's user interface or UI. The experience of you interacting with this app is called user experience or UX. Now, Instagram has 2 billion monthly active users. Its UI has influenced you, your partner, and your parents. For you, the UI might look very simple, but it's way more thoughtful than you would ever guess. Whatever observations we share here are theories and not actual conclusions. As a computer science engineer turned self-taught UX designer, I will try to break down how all of these apps have been carefully influencing us to behave in a certain way. Remember how Shivani didn't want to like or comment the girls that she was stalking? But she was totally comfortable saving it because Instagram would not let anyone know. The UI is basically helping Shivani get plausible deniability. What it means is that users want to engage without leaving any visible proof. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think Instagram keeps like, comment, and share on the left side but save on the right side? Would something happen if I swap these and keep save on the left while like, comment, share on the right? A save by Shivani can help us know a lot about her as compared to her likes and comments. But how is that true? Because Shivani can like to support a brand. She can comment to either tag a friend or even get a resource. She can also comment about something that she does not like, but she will save something only when she is truly interested in it. Now, approximately 90% of the people worldwide are right-handed. So the right side of the screen will be more accessible to users than the left side. This is where Instagram puts their save icon. And this tells us a lot about what is important for Instagram. This right here is an application of Fitts law, which says the closer and larger a target is, the faster you can tap it. So if I go to mobin.com right now, I can show you multiple examples of how apps use Fitts law in their UI very often. Alright, so here I am at Mobin. So if you go to mobin.com, you'll be able to access all of these amazing screenshots. They have collections for both mobile and web. And it's very, very valuable for product designers who are either working at a growing business, at a startup. In fact, they have also expanded from mobile UI to web UI as well. So if you're into website designing or if you're running a creative agency, first doing your research using Mobin and finding patterns from Mobin will help you save a lot of time. So as we were talking about Fitts law, right? If I go to say flows, I can actually see if say we'll go to subscribing and upgrading, you'll realize that all important buttons are actually closer to either the right side of the screen or to the bottom of the screen. And they're always bigger in size so that you can tap on them easily. Even if you look at the keyboard, right, the reason why they have put the Go on the top right corner is simply because it is more accessible to people, and they've also made it almost 2 times bigger than the full stop. When you look at join now, all of these things have actually been put in place. And if you are wondering why have they kept the input fields on the top, because these are selected by default and typing happens at the bottom. So anytime you are designing an experience where you want people to tap on something or to select a specific option, make sure that it is bottom on the screen and it is slightly bigger than other elements, and you want people to access it very easily. Because as I said, the accessibility depends on the size of the target as well as how close it is in terms of the right thumb. So if I go to the weekly, annual and lifetime plan, you'd realize that they have such a big button that says continue. And Fitzlaw has so many other applications even in the real world as well. Like even if you were to analyze an actual plane cockpit or any other equipment, you'd realize that all the important buttons are actually bigger and always closer, because you don't want secondary actions to take more space. I keep talking about pattern finding in general, and I feel like every single designer watching this video should have access to Mobin, because instead of you designing things every day on your own from scratch, the smartest way is to actually come to these portals, and figure out what your competition is doing. Go to a tool like ChatGPT or Grok and ask that I am doing my product research. Can you tell me what kind of apps do I need to look at? And the crazy part is that whatever app I choose, Mobin allows me to go through every single flow in utmost detail. Like it is insanely useful for product managers, for founders, and for designers. And what I usually used to do, I was in college when I started using Mobin. This is 5 or 6 years back. Right? At that time also, this website was way ahead of everybody else. And now they have also added interaction. So you can actually see how the interactions and motion design looks like. So in most cases, I think these are statics, but you saw on the homepage, they were giving you a lot of examples. So if I go here, I can actually search through specific portals. So if I go to say empty state, I'll be able to see how the empty state has been designed here. So, small things, they really add up. If you take inspiration before you actually start designing, if you spend enough time finding patterns, eventually your gut and your intuition will get refined. So as we were noticing in Instagram's case, right, if I go and type here, Instagram, you'll see how Instagram's UI has evolved over time. So if I go from latest to even say March 2018, you will see how Instagram looked almost 7 to 8 years ago, which is extremely useful information, because now you can actually see how the app has evolved, and you realize that some things are still the same. The fact that they have the DP on the left side and the follower count on the top right corner, like all of these things make so much sense, and that is why they haven't changed it. So once you go from 2018 to say November 2024, you'd realize what are some core first principles that have not changed on Instagram at all, and those can be really valuable cues for you. Arjun wants Shivani's attention, so he creates a carousel and adds a cryptic caption that says "Don't settle," and he puts it on his story. Now he's waiting. He's constantly refreshing the story numbers, just praying to God that Shivani sees it and likes it, because her liking the story is going to be a huge validation. If she sees it but doesn't like it, it means she's genuinely ignoring Arjun. If she likes it, then we might have some hope. Now, if she puts a fire emoji or a heart emoji, even better. So now, Arjun is just waiting for a very specific person's reaction. He keeps refreshing to check if Shivani saw his story or not, and that keeps him hooked. This is what we call a variable reward system. Neerayal, the author of a book called Hooked, explained this beautifully. In fact, we have hosted Neer on our podcast, The Cutting Edge Show, as well. We'll put the link in description. Now, here is how the variable reward system works. Your Instagram story views actually work like a slot machine. You don't really know when or who will either reply or like. Arjun's not just waiting for Shivani's reply. He's actually caught in Instagram's variable reward loop. And just like pulling a slot machine's handle, he refreshes it again and again, hoping for a win. On the other hand, Shivani taps on home and instantly sees Arjun's carousal on the story because Instagram knows that they both have been talking. Instagram's UI gives her a few options. She sees a limited number of emojis and not the entire list. The entire story is hidden behind a black overlay, so her focus is only on the emojis. The secondary option here is to type, which is at the bottom. But because her eyes are looking at the story, her first primary instinct would be to choose from the 6 default emoji choices. In just a few seconds, this UX is using 3 key laws. The first law is called the priming effect, which says that our brain is influenced by the first thing it sees. When Shivani opens up the story, Instagram shows 6 emojis first to steer a quick reaction. They're removing the friction from Shivani's reaction. The UI is priming Shivani. The first thing she sees are emojis, not her keyboard, not the reply option, and the brain is most likely to pick the first available choice. Then we have visual hierarchy. Bigger, brighter, and higher elements are seen first. Now, in our specific case, the emojis are closer to the focal point, which is the story center, and more visually dominant than the text box. The story also has an overlay so that these emojis look even better. Then we have decision fatigue. Now, Instagram doesn't show all the emojis up front. It limits to 6 emojis to make decision making easier. Their UX is made easier using the Hicks law, which says the more options you give to someone, the longer they will take to decide. And this is what happens in a lot of apps and products. Shivani doesn't like the story. She doesn't even use an emoji. Before I show you what Shivani actually does, let me go to Mobin and show you how other applications also use Hicks law to boost their business. Alright, now to explain Hicks law, which is all about decision making, let me show you landing pages. So if I go here and let's just say I go to marketing pages, you'd realize that in almost all the cases, they only have 2 primary buttons, right? So if I come here on Apollo, you have sign up for free and then you have get a demo, and they will never have more than 2 options. Similarly, if I go to the pricing page, you'd realize that almost each and every one of them has 3 plans. One would be free, one would be startup, and one would be enterprise. If they have too many plans, let's just say if they have 4 versions, then they would always recommend something right here and they would always brighten it up. Right? So fewer choices, the choice that you want to recommend will always be brighter and bigger and flashier. And it just basically makes decision making so easy. And for a business, this page, this pricing page is one of the most important things for the life or the sustainability of your business, because it doesn't matter how great your website looks like. In the end, if you're not able to deliver customers, if you're not able to convert, then none of it makes sense. And the fun part is, and we've discussed this in our previous videos as well, we've actually made a 2-part episode series on UX and UI roadmaps where I've showed you how you can take these screenshots and upload them on ChatGPT and Grok and actually get insights on what patterns have they used. So, your eyes need to regularly register small things on a daily basis. Like having a subscription of Mobin as a product designer, as a product manager, even as a founder, should be mandatory. And of course, you might feel that, oh, because they're the sponsors of the video, that's why Ansh is saying this. No. The reason why we have invested this much amount of time in making videos for Mobin is because I truly believe in the product. I absolutely believe in the power of this product, and I truly believe that you folks can get a lot of ROI. Your startup can get a lot of ROI because this kind of research, it's impossible to do this level of research and have all of these things together. So we've already made a lot of detailed videos on how Mobin works. I just want to show you how so many other applications have been using similar laws, right? So the crazy part here is that all of these apps, they might visually look different, they might functionally feel different, but on some level, they're all using similar laws. They're all triggering the same core emotions, and it is super exciting when your eyes will start monitoring these patterns. And I really hope that you spend some time noting down all of these small details, because it will help your brain become a better pattern finder. And once you have ChatGPT with you combined with Mobin, your vocabulary will improve as well. That will help you write better prompts. Let's go back to Shivani and Arjun's story. Shivani is starting to like Arjun a little more after she saw other girls commenting on Arjun's pictures. Now this is where social proof kicks in, which basically says that people are more likely to admire something if they see others admiring it as well. So she taps on the photo and ends up reading the comments and then carefully checking if Arjun has replied to any other girl or not. Luckily, he hasn't. Yet. Shivani quickly decides to comment because she wants to be the first one to get Arjun's reply. She gets some emoji recommendations as well. Again, Hicks law and Fitts law in action. In fact, Shivani is going to wait and see if she's the first girl Arjun replies to. Arjun's instant reply to her publicly on the photo is another form of social validation. And it's so interesting how Instagram has created these validation metrics just in the past 4-5 years. On the other hand, Arjun gets a notification that Shivani has commented, and boom, the variable reward system has all the chemicals firing up again. The app is slowly using operant conditioning. This was a very popular experiment and you can read about this. Basically, all of these interactions are training Arjun's brain to associate the sound of an Instagram notification with emotional highs. So as soon as Arjun sees her comment, the friction disappears and the reciprocity bias kicks in. She has commented something already, which makes Arjun feel that it is his turn to keep the conversation going on Instagram. So Arjun ends up texting Shivani on DM, asking if she wants to switch on WhatsApp, which is like the next level of him approaching her. Shivani likes the message, but instead of typing her phone number, she does something else. Isn't it crazy to think that all of these interactions have been designed and released and been influencing us only in the past 10 years? The most fascinating thing is that all of these new UX interactions have been triggering emotions that have driven humanity for generations. Isolation, loneliness, dopamine chasing. It's so interesting. And isn't it surprising that billions of people all across the world are getting influenced by some pixels on their phone without ever realizing? Let me know in the comments section if you want episode 2 of this story as well. I'd like to give a huge thanks to Mobin for supporting us in this concept. Very few brands allow creators to experiment and try new things, and Mobin.com was amazing enough to help us go with this. Please go and check out Mobin for more UX inspiration by clicking the link in description. We have to hit 100k plus views on this video to produce the next episode, so please make sure you share this across your WhatsApp group and LinkedIn profiles. I hope that you're taking care of your mind and body. This is your dost Ansh Mehra and you are learning from the Cutting Edge School.